Hey, so have you heard the theory surrounding Luthen about him being a possible former Jedi? By the way, real quick, spoiler warning for anybody if you haven't watched this. But have you heard anything about that?
I actually haven't. I did see the lightsaber like object he had when he met Saw.
Yeah, okay. So I did notice that, which surprisingly, so I was watching to kind of see why people were thinking this, and that wasn't even mentioned. But I thought that was interesting because it definitely looked like a lightsaber kind of artifact,
Right.
at least. Well, apparently there's a Star Wars Insider issue 154. There's a canon story titled The End of History. And this is like the main reason why people are theorizing this, I guess. But it details a main character named Antron Bach. During the Republic years, he was an antiques dealer who specifically dealt with Jedi artifacts. And after Order 66, a Jedi reached out to him and loaded his ship with holocrons and a bunch of other similar things and told him to preserve the history. So the theory is Bach or the Jedi could be Luthen. Now, if it's the Jedi, the theory is that he found the antique dealer, had died, and he used his shop and artifacts as a cover story in order to hide from Order 66, but remain on Coruscant and keep an eye on everything. And also having a Jedi artifact shop in Coruscant would be a great way to hide in plain sight, because nobody's going to think, the Jedi are, hiding right here in the main capital where all this
Selling
stuff went
Jedi
down.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, selling Jedi stuff. It'd be too obvious for a Jedi to be hiding out that way. And then the other aspect to it was, he says that line that he's been fighting the Empire for 15 years, which is when Order 66 took place. He's not a separatist because they were fighting the Republic long before that, so it would have been, longer if he said that. So the timeline kind of matches up to when all that went down. And then a lot of people were breaking down multiple lines of his sacrifice speech, that it could connect to Jedi values and the oath they take and the Jedi code and similar things like that. So, and he's got that Kyber crystal that he gives to Cassian.
Right.
So some people think maybe that's him holding on to the past as like a memory, But it's interesting. I was expecting a little bit more compelling evidence when I looked into this theory, but I don't think it's going to happen. What about you?
That antique store theory you brought up is really cool. He could just be the guy who got all the stuff from the Jedi too, right?
Right. Yeah. Which I think that actually makes more sense. He had connections with the Jedi at one point. Because he does. A lot of his artifacts are Jedi-centric. Like, he's got the holocrons. He's got the Star Killer thing. He's got the Jedi Temple Guard masks. He got Plo Koon's mask. He's got all this stuff that relates to the Jedi.
Even the Mortis. The Mortis thing.
Yeah, the Mortis stone tablets. Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of stuff that all ties in there. So
I just don't think
yeah.
I just don't think this is the show where they do it. There's all these clues and it does make sense, but being Andor, I don't think we'll get Luthen Skywalker.
Yeah. Oh God, I would be so upset and disappointed. You're right. Yeah, if it was a different project, maybe they'd try to pull this off, but I hope they don't. It's a fun little thing to think about, but I would be genuinely disappointed if season 2 comes out with Luthen immediately saying, "So yeah, I used to be a Jedi." Like, I don't know, but it's interesting though. Welcome back here to Why So Sidious. We'll be jumping into another classic episode, traveling from a galaxy far, far away to Coruscant and down Rick's Road. Breaking down, discussing all of your favorite nerd properties. I'm your host, David Cochran. Here with me this morning is Caleb Culver. Jeremy Darr could not be with us. This morning, we're going to be covering the penultimate and finale episodes of the Disney Plus series Andor. That one's for you, JD. The penultimate episode is titled Daughter of Ferrix, directed by Benjamin Caron, who also did the finale and episode 7 earlier, and the episode was written by Tony Gilroy, who actually was only the main writer on 5 total episodes, the first 3 and the final 2 here. Before we get started, we'd love if you followed us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Why So Sidious Pod. Always posting, always looking for interaction, so meet us there. And upcoming programming reminders are a little scarce these days. We just finished Andor here, our finale, so we now do not have any current programs that we are covering. So we'll be getting back to our kind of fun and loose episode titles, little stuff we come up with, anything you guys want us to cover for an episode, shoot us on in. But it's looking like we're going to be probably covering our personal awards of 2022 and some other, fun ideas we come up with. So tune in and we'll keep you updated on the socials.
Top five.
Lots of top fives coming at you. We love a top 5 list. So, with all that being said, this is your official spoiler warning. We'll be covering the last 2 episodes of Andor, so if you've not finished it off, go ahead and give them a watch because we will be diving deep. With all that being said, let's get into episode 11. So it opens up with Cassian and Melshi hiding from an Imperial ship after their prison break before being caught, but eventually helped out by some fishermen. Transition to Ferrix, where Maarva has sadly passed away, and news spreads to Dedra, who plans to come to Ferrix in hopes of catching Cassian or maybe even Axis at the funeral. Vel comes to Luthen's shop, breaking all protocols and pissing off Clea in the process, as Vel asks her what she's done lately, and we learn Clea has been with him since the beginning. We then see Bix looking like someone who just saw She-Hulk's version of Scar, as she looks completely broken and has voices of the description of her torture ringing through her head. Brutal. Mon Mothma's daughter participating in a Children of the Corn-like chant as she reinforces our bad feelings about her, and Mon reveals to Vel how screwed she really is. Cyril gets word about the funeral in Ferrix, and after he steals $20 out of his mom's purse, he's off to the finale. And finally, the MVP of the show, Luthen, shows up and goes to see Saw, explaining the complications with Krieger, and we get yet another incredible scene between Stellan Skarsgård and Forrest Whitaker. Luthen gets tracked down by an Imperial cruiser, and we get to see how many tricks this man has in his ship as he destroys their tractor beam, pulls a maneuver through TIE fighters that would make Darth Maul proud, and shoots off into hyperspace. And the episode ends with Cassian learning of the death of his mother, sending Melshi off to spread the word about the Empire, and looking off into another vintage Star Wars sunset. So, this was an episode about sacrifice. And, it coming off that ending to the last episode with Luthen's incredible speech about his own sacrifice. We get a scene after scene of our characters having to debate and or commit to certain sacrifices. We got Mon Mothma has to decide if she's willing to sacrifice her daughter into an arranged marriage with the son of a crime lord. Luthen and Saw wrestle over the sacrifice of Krieger and a little bit more of their remaining morals. Bix is tested as to whether she'll sacrifice herself or Cassian to the Empire, and we get Cassian having to decide whether to sacrifice his last chance to say goodbye to his mother at the funeral or to stay away and avoid the risk. But I think we all knew that man was going to come to Ferrix and cause all the trouble in the world because that's just what Cassian does.
Of course. So at the end of episode 10, they escape from prison, and you think, oh wait, they're out, everything's fine. And then beginning of this episode, it's like, oh no, wait, like they're still on this planet that's ran by the Empire. They're a long ways away from being safe. Like that was just step 1 of their escape.
Right. They're literally on the edge of a cliff right now, hanging on for dear life. Like
bloody knuckles.
Yeah. Melshi, stop telling me they're leaving. Like, I can't hold anymore. And then by the end of the scene, he's asking him to tell me they're leaving, because he needs some type of hope, to hold on for dear life and make it back up to the top. But yeah, you're right. We totally think, all right, they're good to go. And nope, they're in a horrible situation still. And thankfully, those fishermen were good guys. Yeah,
that was kind of weird, but
it was goofy, but it felt like Star Wars again. It felt like a classic original Star Wars alien that they kind of threw in there with this odd dialect and stuff. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed it.
I thought Homeboy was going to die. Melshi, what's his name?
Melshi.
Because he was running up ahead, he was sprinting for the ship. I was like, oh, he's a goner for sure.
Dude, just no patience. Oh my gosh. You guys could have let that play out a little. Just start sprinting. Yeah.
How is that box still there when he goes back to his hotel room? Whoever's been cleaning these rooms has not been doing a very good job, because it's just right there on top of the shower or, bathroom.
Yeah. If you stand back far enough, I'm sure you can see the top of it.
You can.
Sticking out of the shower. A man had thousands of credits in there, weapons, and how did he get into the room?
Yeah.
There's an occupant in there. You need a room card or something, but
right.
At least he got his stuff back. Otherwise, the hotel crew are about to have a rebel manifesto that they would not know what to do with. Be like, what the hell is this? And then we get Cassian at the end of the episode. He calls home and he finds out that Maarva has died after telling the guy to send a message, sadly, to Maarva about how proud she would be of him, of what he was doing, you know. And he's like, buddy, she gone. She gone, man. So that was kind of heartbreaking. But it was definitely the spark to Cassian's like full commitment to the rebellion. You know, it leads him into the finale, and he gets that meaningful message in the finale, which we'll get into later, that really tips him over the edge. Yes. But I think this was kind of the starting push. Like you would have been proud, man. I did this, you know, and he finds out she's gone. So that was a tough thing to see.
I like how they did that too. That's more realistic than having him come back and be by her side as she dies. You know, that's how real life happens. You know, you're gone and someone is gone when you come back.
Right. Yeah. You're not always there. Say goodbye for all that stuff. So no, I agree.
So when we move on to Ferrix, I am feeling pretty bad for B2 Emo right now. Like, he's not taking it well.
I know.
Just so upset. Like, he's about to pull an R2 and just shut down.
Yeah. Droid suicide.
But you find out that you get turned into a brick and you become a part of the city, which is kind of cool. Like a cool tradition, culture kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we get to Bix, just look how they massacred my girl.
Tough look for our girl.
And just when they ask her, is Anto Krieger the man you introduced to Cassian? And it's just this like no-win situation. Because it's obviously Luthen who she introduced to Cassian. She's probably never seen this guy before. Maybe she has, but I don't think so.
Probably not. Yeah, I mean, she barely had contact with Luthen, you know?
Yeah, and you can tell like the little bit of hope, like the 1% of hope she has left in her is just taken out of her. She's just like, if I say yes, I'm lying. If I say no, they'll think I'm lying. Like, what do I do here?
Right. You're just stuck. There's absolutely no right way to go there. And regardless, you're probably getting tortured again. And she can't really think, you know, she's not in her right mind right now. So it's not like she can even really like process how to answer this the best. She's just frozen. And like, who can blame her, man?
I would have cracked. I would have been like, no, it was not him. It was this other guy, Luthen. He has an antique shop on Coruscant. Drives a really badass ship. I'd watch out.
We meet in this warehouse every single time. Here's his number. Here's a picture of him. Yeah, so then we get Vel, you know, giving a little surprise visit to Mon Mothma on Coruscant there. And she comes in and sees, again, that creepy chant that her daughter is doing, which we find out it was her decision. She wanted to do this old tradition of their people, the Chandrillan people. And they're just repeating this creepy ass phrase. I don't even know. But Vel and Mon Mothma both look disturbed. Like, wait, what do you mean she wanted to do this? Like, I always knew there's something wrong with that girl. Knew I didn't like her, and she's just a freak. She's a freak.
I thought it was funny though when Mon Mothma's talking to Vel, she basically gives her a quick summary of everything she's been up to in season 1.
Yeah.
All the events of season 1, she kind of tells her real fast. Gets her caught up. She's been off screen.
Yeah.
And then earlier with Vel and the assistant, Luthen's assistant.
Yeah.
I don't like her. Like, I get it. Everyone has a role to play, and she's like, I have all these plates spinning at the same time. You don't know what I've been up to. And she's like, I gave him Aldani. What have you done for him lately? Like, oh.
Yeah. Kind of nailed her. And she didn't have anything. Like, you know, she was like, well, I'm not lately. I'm always, you know, I've been with him from the start. Yeah. And it's like, okay. But you can't blame Vel. Like, you're sitting here giving her this crap, lecturing her about all this stuff after she just risked her ass for the Aldani mission, and she's being treated like some low-level henchman. Right. Like, yo, show Vel a little respect here, Clea. Like, we don't even know what you do. Like, we know what Vel's doing out here. So I'm curious to see how big of a role Clea is going to play in season 2, because she can't be done. Like, they've set her up as a very important, you know, piece of Luthen's plan here, and now we got Cassian joining Luthen. So where's she gonna come into play? You know, I'm wondering if we find out she's like the heart of this or something. I don't know.
Right. I feel like she's gonna be at odds with Vel. Like, they'll disagree on something. She'll like relay the wrong message to Vel that Luthen gave. cause this conflict, something like that.
Seems like something she's good at. And she's probably going to be pissed at Luthen for bringing Cassian back. She's probably going to lecture him about how he's slipping again, and we were supposed to kill this guy, and you're bringing him in and giving him more information. So, yeah, there's probably going to be some drama.
Genevieve O'Reilly, that's her name, right?
Dude.
Just where her daughter walks in and she's just has these like tears in her eyes, but she's trying to hold it together. She's my favorite actress on the show by far. I think she's honestly better than Luthen and Forrest Whitaker. Like, those guys are great, but they're just these like, I don't know. She just kills it every time she's on screen.
I agree. No, she's a tremendous actress, and I don't remember what episode it was. It was 8 or 9 when she was having the talks with Tay. I forget his full name. Her friend from
Kolma.
Their home planet. Yeah, Tay Kolma. She had incredible emotional scenes when she's talking to him, when she's worried, and she's talking to Luthen after he pulls off the Aldani heist, and the genuine fear and anxiety coming out of her in that scene. Like, you know, she's great, and I don't think I've seen her in anything else.
No.
But I hope to. I hope to see her a lot more because she's definitely a talented actress.
Or even earlier in the season, her first meeting with Tay, and she's like telling him to smile, you know, don't act like this is like a really serious conversation, you know, all that kind of stuff. Right.
Yeah. No, she's great. And okay, so she is the Mon Mothma in Rogue One, but she's barely in that. Obviously, we don't get to see even a hint of her talent with that. So yeah, I hope to see her in more.
I thought it was the actress from Conjuring at first, but it's not.
Oh, what's her name? I know who you're talking about.
I know.
She almost.
Hold on.
The chick from Conjuring almost looks like an older Elizabeth Olsen.
Vera Farmiga.
Mixed with something. Vera Farmiga, there you go. Yeah. She's actually in Hawkeye. She's Kate Bishop's mom.
Yeah. That's right. Right.
But yeah, shout out to Genevieve O'Reilly. Looking forward to season 2.
Seriously.
Well, let's dive into the meat of this episode. So this was an episode where I was thinking to myself, all right, they finally did it. They finally, you know, it's not bad. It's not a bad episode, but it's slow. You know, there's not a whole lot going on, but it's a setup for the finale. So it's whatever. But I was thinking to myself, all right, this might be the first sub-8 episode. And then Luthen has to step in and go meet Saw and have an incredible conversation with him and Saw, and then lead into that incredible action sequence. But yeah, so we get Luthen and Saw in that interaction regarding Krieger. And it's kind of weird that Saw's getting mad at Luthen here when he realizes he's willing to sacrifice Krieger and 30 men. You know, when earlier, first off, he had nothing good to say about Krieger or their cause. You know, he's saying they're lost, I'm not helping him out, yada, yada, yada. But also, Saw is kind of known for being ruthless and willing to sacrifice anything and anyone in order to gain ground on the fight against the Empire. So it caught me off guard that he was this, like, bothered by the fact that Luthen was going to sacrifice Krieger.
Yeah, that is a little out of character for him. I guess he was just really stuck on the fact of thinking Luthen was an ISB agent, or he has someone inside the ISB, and he's like, who is it? You probably have a secret agent with me. And then Luthen points to the alien, and the alien's like, whoa.
It's tubes. It's tubes right here.
So I think it just made Saw super suspicious of all the information that Luthen knew. Was kind of threw him off, like, wait, who is this guy really?
Right. And that's another key component of Saw is his paranoia. He is known for being incredibly paranoid. We see that a lot in Rogue One, obviously. We see it a good amount in Rebels, too, even in Fallen Order a little bit. So, yeah, once he realizes Luthen as an ISB spy, he's like, okay, well, there's no limit to wherever this guy is. You know, this guy's a rat. He's in all this stuff. Who knows what he's doing? So Forrest Whitaker played that scene of paranoia and kind of panic really well.
Yes.
But the tubes thing was hilarious, bro. The way, the demeanor Luthen had when he's like, yeah, it's tubes. Tubes like, what the hell? He's lying. Like, no. And, he pulls out the blaster on Saw, too, which, good Lord, Luthen is just a savage. The balls it takes to not only point out Saw's lieutenant to call him the spy, but then pull a weapon on Saw in his own base, and Saw's like, there's no way out. Like, there's no way out of here. What are you doing? But it works. You know, it gets him on his side. It's like, you think, I forget exactly what he said after he pulls the blaster on him. But he's like, if I was ISB, why would I be here telling you this? You know, why wouldn't I let you go into the trap? I would let you go get worked, you know, and which convinces Saw, which is a great point. But
and he goes, 30 men. He goes, yes, 30 men plus Krieger.
Plus Krieger. Right. Keep saying that.
Okay, 30 men. All right, I guess 30 men. That's okay. I'll take it.
Yeah, yeah. And you get the classic interchange of, you know, all for the greater good. Call it what you will. Let's call it war, which we saw in the trailer, you know, a snippet of that conversation, but just an iconic scene between the two. So we get Luthen leaving, and he gets tailed by an Imperial cruiser.
But right before that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's speaking in code to Clea, right?
Over the intercom? Okay, about... Yes,
so is that about? I was confused. They were deep in code about talking about like antique stuff. But was that Cassian or Vel?
Yes, I think that was about Cassian, because they're like, you know, we need to get this piece, and he's like, well, imagine, you know, the trouble if another dealer gets their hands on this piece, you know, because they're worried about Cassian's info. So yeah, though they were deep in code, but I felt like
hard
they were
to
talking about Cassian. Yeah,
right. That was cool.
But yeah, after he's talking, he gets swarmed by he gets caught up by an Imperial cruiser, which is really cool because this style of Imperial cruiser with the 3 large satellite dishes on the front, that was actually original concept art for the Star Destroyers for the original trilogy. That was one of the concept arts pushed forward. So this isn't the first time we've seen something like this where Disney Star Wars has used old concept arts for the original trilogy and put it into play. Well, we've seen a couple ships like this. Vader from Rebels was actually based on the concept art of, I forgot the name of the artist who drew him.
Ralph McQuarrie.
Yes, the little elongated look to his helmet and everything in Rebels that looks exactly like one of the original concept arts for Vader. So it's cool when they do this. You know, they show little homages to the original creators, artists, illustrators, all that. So it's always fun to see.
Yes.
But yeah, man, he gets caught by that tractor beam. What a scene. What a scene. What a ship. How many tricks does that man have in that ship? Oh my gosh.
But so he has the robot get like a fake code to, you know, get him through, and the code works. But the guy goes, we can use this for practice anyways. Like, damn, you're a dick.
Such a dick. Like, it actually worked. I was waiting for Luthen to be like, what, is there a problem with my code? Like, why are you boarding me right now?
And but when he first fires the boosters up, and the Imperial guys are like, this is a Hallcraft. Like, what does this guy think he's doing? You know, like, this ain't your average Hallcraft, boys.
Right. This is like having one of those Dubai Lamborghini police cars, and some dude in a smart car is trying to get away, and they're like, "Oh, what is this guy doing? Right. Like, does he think he's gonna outrun us? This is a joke, right?" But dude, so sick. So his whole plan that he used, the strategy, was genius. You know, he keeps pushing their hand. He keeps upping the boosters, so they need to keep cranking the tractor beam's power up and up and up until it's almost at max. And then he just releases a bunch of debris. He pulls the Millennium Falcon move where they release a bunch of junk and debris. I forget. Somebody's targeted onto them, and they release... No, that might have been Obi-Wan. He's being chased by Jango, and they fire missiles, and Obi-Wan releases a bunch of debris, and the missiles hit the debris instead, and Jango thinks he got him. So he pulled an Obi-Wan there with that little move, but the tractor beam is powered so much that the debris turns into straight-on missiles and just tears apart the satellite, the tractor beam as a whole. Such a dope move. Like, I didn't realize what was happening. I thought that was like a turbo boost, and it was like warming up and like sputtering like smoke as it was about to just kick into some crazy ass like DeLorean Back to the Future booster there. But he's just drilling the ship with debris. Like,
that was sick. And now this is Star Wars. Like, we needed a little dogfight in space. And they released the TIE Fighters to get the screams.
Cue the TIE Fighters theme music.
Yes.
God, that was sick.
He's just wiping them out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and he hits that I mean, he's got the little automatic turrets, you know, that he's maneuvering all these levers
Locking
and stuff
on.
on the dash. Yes, and you get the automated turrets that look like one of the turrets on the Millennium Falcon. Pops out of the top there, starts taking out TIE fighters. And then the iconic shot, which I kind of wish we didn't see in the trailer. I get it. It definitely caught my interest when we see it in the trailer. But when he busts out the Darth Maul sabers and just does, hey, I'll try spinning. That's a neat trick. And just takes out multiple TIE fighters with that thing. Like, oh my gosh, that move was dope. Tony Stark-esque.
And the officer is just standing there like, what the fuck just happened?
Dumbfounded. just speechless. Like, he didn't even have like a frown. He was just staring off into space, just like, well, my life's over. Like, okay, that's it. I'm done. My career's shot. Dude.
Yeah, it's not like they can say nothing ever happened because their ship is destroyed. They're gonna have to say
destroyed
something.
by a holocraft. Yeah. Well, our entire Imperial cruiser got destroyed. Oh, like a bombardment of TIE fighters or X-Wing attacks you? No, trash. Just some trash. Just took out our ship.
And I do really I like scenes like this. I think this is the second time we got it. Just getting like space pullovers, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. They do
And
it in Mando a couple times. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Where they
Yeah,
call
it's really
in.
cool.
Yeah, I like it. It kind of gives us, you know, it's
But it
something
was,
we can relate to.
And it was the Republic pulling over Mando in Mando.
Yeah. Yep.
And now it's the
Republic.
Empire, you know? So whoever's policing the galaxy at the time is the cops.
Yeah, dude. No, that's a good point, actually. It's an interesting, cool little scenes we see like that. And, dude, I don't know if you noticed, but I freaking loved the score of this scene. So the score is playing, and it's kind of this hopeful battle score as Luthen's evading them. But it's actually the full score. I'm pretty positive. I haven't gone back to double check, but I'm pretty positive it's portions of the opening theme song. So you know how the opening theme of Andor, it's like some instrumentals and then it slowly starts building up more and more. So that score that was playing was one of the episodes, whether it was episode 5 or episode 6, but it was the same theme, kind of hopeful music that started playing between one of those episodes. So it was really cool, but it was obviously a little bit more epic, louder, but it was a cool score to go through with the scene.
I do want to find like a YouTube video where it's just all the intros back to back.
So
it would
I
be
have
cool to see how it because it's different every time.
Right, and I got something on that regarding the finale, but I have to go check because I think there's a little bit more to it. But I guess since we're talking about it now, a lot of it builds up to the final funeral song that's being played for Maarva, like all the flutes and the drums and everything. So a lot of the opening theme combined to make that final funeral song, essentially.
Okay.
So that is pretty dope. So they had been building something there. So there is, like you're saying, there's a puzzle to be put together with all those snippets of the opening theme. So somebody's going to put it as one track.
Oh, for
and then,
sure.
Like, show, you know, there's somebody out there. Not all heroes wear capes. He's out there.
They do have TikTok accounts.
Yeah. Dude, but after this scene, we've now seen Luthen handle almost every possible rebel conflict type, other than a lightsaber duel at this point. Like, he's made his mark as one of the most notable rebels we've ever seen. He can bargain, he can recruit, he can lead, he can talk his way out of things, he can infiltrate. And damn, can he pilot a ship, bro? After seeing this, it's like, you're hitting all the marks. And if he is a Jedi, like everybody's saying, he can do that lightsaber. We'll wait on that for season 2. But it's just been really cool. Yeah, fantastic undercover. It's just been cool to see these different facets of skills that Luthen has that's aiding the rebel cause. And he's I don't know. He might be a top 3 all-time rebel. You heard it here first. He's a 5-tool might be up there.
Player.
5-tool player, bro. I'm telling you.
And just one last thought. I was hoping we would get the Krieger slaughter in the finale, but we didn't. It wasn't necessary, but it would have been kind of cool to just see him pull up and then a bunch of TIE fighters just destroy all of it. That would have been cool.
Because we don't really see that. We see TIE fighters show up, and obviously we love TIE fighters. They're one of the most badass vehicles in any fantasy property, any movie property. We've talked about it at length. So we always see them pull up, but then kind of get worked. Or they, maneuver some people. We've seen, every once
Kill
in a
a
while,
random X-wing.
trap work. Right, but we've never seen them show up and just slaughter a scene like that. So yeah, that kind of would have been cool to see TIE fighters just show up and absolutely make light work of those rebels. But
right.
I get it. Budgetary restrictions and all that. Like, I understand, but it definitely would have been cool.
Krieger was never introduced.
Yeah.
They were talking about that on Mystery Crate. He looked CGI when they brought the face up to
the
Bix.
hologram? Okay.
Yeah, he didn't even look like a real person. I did notice that too. Like, that wasn't even an actor. That was like a CGI created face they used. So
Like
there wasn't
video
even
game?
an actor for Krieger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't even notice that. All right. Well, let's get any overall thoughts you got left, or your rating of the episode. What do you got?
Yeah, like we pretty much touched on it. It was kind of a slow episode that ended with a bang that really saved it. Getting that conversation with Saw and Luthen, and then the Imperial pullover. So yeah, it was. I have it at an 8.2, a little bit lower than the other ones, but yeah, it did set up the finale well.
Straight up. Yeah, like I said, we covered it. I was looking to, give this a 7.8 or something, 7.9. Again, nothing against it. It was good. It just wasn't a lot happening. But then, damn, you hit me with that final scene, and you can't expect me to give it less than an 8 after a scene like that. We get Luthen and Saw. We get a crazy Star Wars dogfight. Like, no, you got it. So I gave it an 8.1 out of 10. Another solid episode in the list of Andor episodes. So pretty solid way to roll into the finale. So speaking of, let's jump into the finale here. So the episode is titled Rick's Road, and again, directed by Benjamin Caron, written by Tony Gilroy. Just like last episode, they took on this two-parter. The episode opens up with one of Salman Pak's workers making a homemade bomb in preparation for the funeral, and we get Deidre landing on Ferrix, being escorted by death troopers, along with the rest of the pieces coming to Ferrix that will be on the board in this finale. Mon Mothma intentionally roasts her husband because he's gambling again, so that her driver ISB spy can hear, setting up an alibi for her money. And we get an awful flashback caused by the mention of Canto Bight. At the end of the episode, we get Mon Mothma introducing her daughter to the son of the crime lord for the arranged marriage. Cassian returns to Ferrix, and we get a flashback of him and his dad, along with him using Nemik's Rebel Manifesto as a hype song before he heads into his next mission. During the funeral at Ferrix, we get a reunion/meeting of all of the characters we followed throughout the season, except for maybe like Cyril's mom. And the funeral begins earlier than the Imperials planned, and we get an incredibly tense march to the town square for Maarva's funeral as Imperial soldiers mount up. After an incredibly motivating speech about regret and fighting the evil empire by Maarva, the city rises up and a massive riot breaks out, leading to the deaths of many Imperials before they begin to open fire on citizens. Cyril saves Deidre on the brink of death, and while all of this takes place, Cassian breaks Bix out of prison and gets her into a ship with Brasso and B2. He sends them off to safety, but stays back to find and join Luthen in his rebel effort. But wait! After the credits roll and we think the season is over, we get a crazy dope wide pan shot of droids assembling the laser cannon part of the Death Star. We knew that's what they were doing, but it's awesome to see that closure there. Yeah. Called it.
That was so sick. Calling it.
Dude, what a dope way to end this season with that post-credit scene. Like, that was just so perfect. And we know part of me was thinking it wasn't that assembled, the Death Star as a whole. We're thinking, it's going to take them all these prisoners, all these millions of people working to get this thing assembled. But they already had it, the majority of it assembled. All they needed was the weapon aspect of it. But it does make sense, because in Revenge of the Sith, we see they already started construction on the Death Star.
So 15 years.
15 years, right. Yeah, and they're still not finished.
Time.
It is a long-ass time to have that many resources focused on this thing. So it makes sense, time-wise and everything. Mm-hmm. So, bro, I mean, they're getting there. It was just such a cool shot. I love that.
I love the look of it. It looks so clean. The CGI.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's Star Wars. Again, man, the one thing they got down is CGI, because that looked incredible.
Everything is one flat, there's no up or down for Star Wars CGI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, when do we get I don't remember any scenes where I'm like, man, that was awful CGI there. Like, they really screwed that up. The only time it's really looked goofy.
Maybe Boba Fett.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe.
yeah, I'm sure Boba Fett had some shots that were not great. But even in the bad shows like that, the CGI aspects still somehow seem to be pretty damn good. Like,
Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel, you could take a few pages out of the old Star Wars book there. Not in every way, but VFX wise, go ahead and fix that Doctor Strange eye.
Well, they ain't got ILM.
They ain't got what?
They don't have. Well, Lucasfilm was basically the start of Pixar, so they got their CGI down.
Oh, yeah, they've been doing this for a minute. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and check because like we were just talking about it. But I do think that final theme song that was playing for the opening of this finale here matches up with the funeral marching. Again, I'll have to go back and listen, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Which, if so, that's just another cool, tiny detail, that this show has put into play that was written well, was planned out, and it had something it was connected to the whole time. So,
yeah.
Dude, so we open up Ferrix. And Zan, the guy who tells Cassian that Maarva has passed away, he's telling Brasso about Cassian calling. But he's telling him in the middle of a crowded street in a planet that is being occupied by the Empire. Everything. Bix is being tortured right now for information about Cassian. And you're just walking down the middle of the street speaking in full volume about how Cassian called. Like, it drives me nuts when characters do that in a movie or a show, where it's a huge secret and you're just talking about it openly, and it leads to Homeboy, who was actually shaking down Cassian for money in the opening of this season, ratting him out to the Empire. It's
right.
Like, well, why are you talking about that in the open, man? It drives me nuts.
And the guy didn't even warn Cassian not to come back. Brasso asked that.
No.
Like, you warned him not to come here, right? And he's like, it was a short conversation, like I said.
Yeah, essentially just, no, I didn't. But maybe mention that, bro. And I'm sure Cassian would have came anyway. It's like we know he does, but still try. Dude, I don't know. Poorly handled by Zan there.
And I really did like that scene with Nurchi when he's talking to the guy, and he's like, "Oh, I would feel so bad if I was him, like not being there for your mom. I really got to feel for him. You want another drink? Like
just working.
Classic.
Him. Just a scumbag." And he gets wrecked by the end of the episode, right?
Yeah.
He
died.
Explosion takes him out. Yeah.
But there's just so many undercover agents. I couldn't keep up with them all because there's the other guy who Cinta's following around.
Yeah.
And then there's this guy, and then there's Luthen's undercover agents are walking around at the same time.
Bro, it was like Game of Thrones-esque.
Yeah.
Like when everybody's going to this, thing that's happening. We're seeing all these different side characters.
Got those vibes.
Yeah, they set it up really cool. It's cutting back and forth between this guy making the bomb and all the pieces in Ferrix getting into their positions for the final funeral here. And it was just really done well, really shot well.
So the score, I actually did get a Game of Thrones score vibe in the build up to the funeral, almost like it was the blowing up of the Sept.
Okay.
Where it's like cutting back and forth, and then the score is kind of getting louder and louder
Rising.
as it's getting closer, and then the funeral happens, and then that's like the climax of it all.
Right. And this is the second time they've done that really well. They did that in the Eye episode, where the villagers are chanting as the heist is building up and building up, and the Eye is starting to shoot. They do a really good job of that. We get Deidre, again, being escorted by the Death Troopers, which is so dope because, first off, Death Troopers are just awesome. Like, it's just dope to see them at any point. They're an iconic type of stormtrooper. And it's interesting. So Death Troopers actually got their name. So apparently there was rumors going throughout the galaxy that the Emperor had created these unkillable undead soldiers that were just unstoppable. And so the Emperor leaned into this rumor and named them Death Troopers in order to kind of put that intimidation behind them. Which it works because they are intimidating as hell. But it was cool seeing her walking around with that. And it was cool seeing how smart they were with planning this and allowing this to happen. Yet another instance of the Empire letting a culture do their own thing to advance their own plans. The same thing with the Eye. They let them do that whole tradition for the Empire's benefit. And then they're doing this so that the funeral can set up and they can have a trap for all these major players they're trying to capture. So it was cool seeing them plan that out.
And also, she arrived on the Imperial shuttle, which was just super sick to see.
Yeah,
Star Wars fan, you know.
That was a cool scene as she's coming into the junkyard. Like,
Mhm.
kind of looked like the Fallen Order intro scene where Cal works on that shipyard and then the Inquisitors come in and land. Yeah, it reminded me of that a lot. And then they're talking about the ambush on Anto Krieger and how well it happened, you know, how quickly it worked. They walked right into it and slaughtered them. He goes, yeah, no survivors. I'll give you a guess about who's unhappy about that. And it shows Deidre talking to Partagaz over the hologram. She's pissed. She's like, why did you guys do this without me? Like, you left no survivors. We could have questioned those people. And Partagaz is like, well, just shows we need access that much more. Get to work. So it's that driving push for her to really get this mission accomplished because she's pissed that they just did that without her.
Right. He even says this was about wiping Aldhani out of the Emperor's mouth, the taste of Aldhani. Yes. So I do have a question about that. So since this was pretty personal to Palpatine, do you think he sent Vader in a TIE fighter along with the other ones?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you think he probably would, right? Like, these people are getting out of hand. We need to take care of them. Vader, you need to lead the squadron.
Go straight up, make an impression. Like, I can see that. I can see that. You'd think they'd leave like one straggler to be afraid of Vader or something like that. But yeah, like, tell your friends what happened here today. And then, dude,
that was just my headcanon.
No, I love it. It makes me want to see that scene even more now.
Right.
Look, we don't need Easter eggs or fan service, Tony. But if you could have showed us Vader showing up to wipe out Anto Krieger, like, it would have been fine. And then we get the quick little Luthen and Vel interaction, which I think is the first time they've really talked since that episode. Vel's like, I was starting to worry. And they're talking about Cassian. And Vel's like, well, the Empire is going to catch him. And Luthen's like, great. They can do our job for us. They'll find him for us, and we'll kill him before they get to him. Like, perfect. And Vel's like, what? Like, this is good? He's like, yeah, this is great. Just Luthen always finding the positives, in these things.
Yeah. And it also surprised me that he said that. And we'll kill him first. I was like, oh, damn, like, you're still 100% set on this. All right. Like, that wasn't just Clea.
Yeah. No, apparently he's all in on killing Cassian. Which, I mean, he was worried. He was talking to Clay about how he was regretting letting him in, and he screwed up letting somebody in that he didn't really prep enough or whatever the case was. So how about that Canto Bite reference? That do anything for you?
Basically, keep all your nonsense on that crap planet is what she was saying.
Essentially. You want to pull this crap, you take it to the sequels.
But I didn't even think about it at first. I thought her husband is pretty much a dirtbag. But his reaction was like, wait, who's saying this? Like, I'm not. What are you talking about? And she asked for the privacy. And of course, her undercover agent driver is not going to do that. He's going to listen in anyways.
Yeah. Even though Perrin was like, he can't hear us, because she even acted like it. She's like, keep your voice down to him, as if she thought that it wasn't being heard. And he's like, he can't hear us. Just nailed that plan perfectly. But so it's interesting. So we get that scene with Mon Mothma talking. I always forget what the crime lord's name was, but talking to the crime lord, and he says that thing in the Davo. Yeah. There you go. And he says that thing in the beginning of their interaction. He's like, oh yeah, I've met your husband, many times. And she's like, I'm sure you have. So that kind of leans into his gambling issue. If he's a heavy gambler, he's had all these ties with this crime lord, kind of a, what's it called? What's the term for somebody who lends money? Loan shark. Good Lord. He's kind of like a, criminal loan shark there. So he has had runnings in with Mon Mothma's husband. But yeah, it seemed genuine. He was like, what? I haven't been. Like, I'm not gambling. What do you mean? Like, it was a genuine, like, confusion. He's like, let's go back. Who's telling you this? But it was a clever way. Mon Mothma set it up. She basically covered her ass for the Empire audit that's coming to her finances by dropping that line and being like, it worries me where you're getting the money to gamble. And that's the exact line the ISB spy relays to the Empire. They're like, yeah,
that's
well,
when
she
I put
said
it together.
this specifically. She said that. So just an ingenious way of Mon Mothma to cover her ass with that by using her scumbag husband.
And once again, Blevin messing it all up.
Freaking Blevin, bro. That guy's garbage. And then sadly, actually not sadly, because you know what? I don't care about that daughter. I don't care. So whatever. She ends up bringing her daughter to marry Davos' son at the very end of the episode. She finally gives in to cover her ass again with the finances. And I mean, her daughter looked more than happy. She's all in on this whole traditions from Chandrillin, so she was probably stoked to be a part of this. Perrin probably doesn't care because he's a scumbag. He's probably thinking, oh, I can get in with this loan shark now. Their family. Like, works for all parties, I guess.
But the ISB isn't going to be suspicious that Mon Mothma married her daughter off to a crime lord?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Right? Like, this guy does not have a good reputation, and the cleanest senator from Coruscant just had a betrothal with him. That was my first thought. Like, wait. It's going to work out for her money situation, but people are going to be asking questions like, what are you doing? Why are you doing business with this guy?
It's not a bad point. It'd be like Pelosi just married her daughter off to Pablo Escobar's son. People are like, weird. Like, red flags. Yeah, no, that's a great point. I really didn't consider it that way. Well, whatever. She's all in on the rebellion at this point, apparently.
Yeah. She makes it.
Yeah. So
her daughter, though.
Her daughter is whatever. She deserves it.
Goes off to Canto Bight, lives her life over there.
Oh my gosh. If we get a scene of Mon Mothma's daughter in Canto Bight, I would be very upset for multiple reasons.
That'd be funny, though. Maybe she just dies. They show her dying real fast on Canto Bight.
God. And maybe they just kill her. So anyway, we get Cassian's dumbass coming back to Ferrix like we knew he would, putting everyone at risk for a funeral. But I get it, it's closure and everything. But because at this point he didn't know Bix was imprisoned. You know, the only reason he had for coming back to Ferrix was for Maarva's funeral, essentially. Right. Which maybe to collect B2. And I guess he knows they're under Empire control. I don't know. It's just another kind of dumb move by Cassian. But whatever, he's here.
It's what he does.
Yeah, that's what he does. So he's listening to Nemik's manifesto. And God, do we get so many good lines out of this manifesto.
Dude.
Like, so many. I mean, you get freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. And the imperial need for control is so desperate because it's so unnatural. Like, just line after line.
The front lines of the rebellion are everywhere.
Yes. Yeah, it says like random acts of insurrection are happening throughout the galaxy. There are whole armies, battalions that have no idea that they've already enlisted in the cause. Even the smallest act of insurrection pushes our lines forward. And you're just getting chill. You know, I hear that and I can't help but think of Han and Chewie, even in the Solo movie. You know, they're taking place of these heists with these criminals and everything, but they're getting to the point where they're doing stuff that's pissing the Empire off, and they're actually becoming involved in this rebel cause that they're not even aware of. You know, all these different groups that we've seen that end up fighting the rebellion at the end. And, you know, he says the whole thing about at the very end, he goes, the day's going to come when skirmishes and battles, these moments of defiance will have flooded the banks of the Empire's authority, and there will be one too many. One single thing will break the siege. And yeah, again, you think to all these rebel events, rebel efforts that have led to a farm boy, a smuggler, and the daughter of a senator being the ones who take down this empire. But it's because the only reason they had a chance to was all of these small rebel efforts throughout the years pushing back against the empire till they get to the point where it just takes that one last nudge at the end. And it's just such a cool speech that tied back to so many things from the original trilogy. And I don't know, it was a great, great scene. Yeah,
I knew they put the manifesto in the previously on for a reason. They always do that.
Yep. I was waiting for it to play out too, and I didn't know maybe season 2 was coming until I saw the previously on thing. But we've been waiting to hear what was inside that manifesto, and man, I mean, we just got line after line. Even the tyranny requires constant effort. Oppression is the mask of fear, which kind of ties into the whole I call that power. And Cassian says power doesn't panic. Power doesn't panic. Oppression is the mask of fear. There's just so many parallels in all these quotable lines from this show that all tie in at the end.
I did have a couple things on the Clem stone, when the Clem scene.
Yeah.
So there was like talking about great quotes from the show. when he has the flashback when he touches his dad's stone about, teaching him how these things come dirty. Like, no one wants these things, but it takes 2 minutes to clean and they're worth 500 credits. And he says, the man who sees everything is more blessed than cursed. People don't look down to where they should. They don't look down. They don't look past the rust. There's possibilities everywhere. Which is a perfect, like, as a father teaching your son how he should, think about things in life. That's a great lesson.
Yes. And it ties into Maarva's feelings about Cassian as well. Cassian can't see through the rust of himself. He can't see past the flaws and everything, but Maarva has seen that, and Maarva tells Brasso and that, she leaves a message behind for Brasso to tell Cassian and, tell him he knows what he needs to know. He feels what he needs to feel. And when those two come together, he'll be an unstoppable force for good. Tell him I love him more than anything he could ever do wrong. And just like, oh my God, it gives me chills reading that off. It was such a touching thing. And it touches back to Clem's line there. Maarva sees this thing in Cassian. It's been such a cool character arc for Cassian throughout just this season alone. I've seen so many examples of him throughout the season where he showed good leader, skilled fighter, brilliant tactician, a protector, but it was never really for a great cause. It was never put together, and Cassian never really saw it as a whole. But Maarva could. She knew what he was truly capable of becoming, and like her speech said, once that all came together, once it clicked, it was going to be an unstoppable force. And they just did such a great job at paralleling those lines from both of his parents to culminate into the final product we see of Cassian at the end of the episode.
Also, Brasso, great memory.
Yeah, word for word. He got the emotion and everything. And that was like, we talked about Maarva's passing kind of being a little spark of his rebellion fight and him coming back. But this was the gas that spark lit up, was Maarva's speech right there that Cassian not only hears from Brasso, but then Maarva's speech to the city as Cassian's hearing it play out as he's rescuing Bix. That was the fuel needed to kick this fire into gear and to really get Cassian to find Luthen and join this cause.
Yeah.
And, just talk about line after line of incredible stuff in this episode. I mean, good Lord. And actually, real quick, I really like the character of Brasso. The actor does a great job in all of his scenes. He wasn't in it too much, but he had a lot of important scenes in this episode, and he's just a cool side character to have for the Ferrix arc. So yeah, I really, really liked him. I kind of hope we see him in season 2. And he got sent off.
The big lovable guy.
The big lovable guy who kicks some ass. Can straight kick some stormtroopers if he needs to.
Dude, he headbutted a stormtrooper with a helmet on.
The mask. The helmets are obviously not very hard because he headbutted the helmet and the guy with the helmet got hurt worse. So there's not very effective helmets.
I don't know.
It's like the equivalent of a football player punching a guy wearing a football helmet on.
Yeah.
I get the emotion, not smart. But he's a cool character, and we'll probably get him in season 2 because he got sent off on the ship with Bix, right. So I'm thinking their story isn't done. But yeah, let's get into the funeral, bro. The crux of this episode and really this season. So they're all planning for it, and all of a sudden, homeboy with the hammers up top starts hitting the anvil early. And the marching band comes out, and they all, it reminds us of the episode where where the Primor came after Cassian and everybody, and then they start hearing the bells ringing and the chants or whatever is going on. And they're getting all freaked out by the citizens setting up this kind of secret language they're shooting through the city. And so we kind of got that again because, the Empire's wondering they're not supposed to start yet. What the hell is going on? And we got this whole town just marching with this guy up on the tower. And it just led to just an incredible speech by Maarva and just such a great build up to this climax.
Yeah. So you can see the band's warming up, and when they first started, I'm like, oh god, they sound like crap. But they were just like practicing, I guess, because they got their crap together. Yeah. And you could tell from the start, I was thinking like, what did Maarva want to do here? Did she like have some plan for her? Because she recorded that whole speech. Did she like tell everyone, okay, my funeral is the moment when we attack? Like, because you could tell everyone was ready before the speech.
Yeah. And it took like the guard kicking over B2 and all that to finally really kickstart the fight. But it did. It seemed
ready.
like everybody was aware that something was about to happen. That
Right.
you know. And obviously, I'm assuming Maarva recorded this after she heard of Aldani, and she got that hope sparked in her, you know. And she told Cassian, "I'm not done here. I need to be here and fight for my planet. You know, the rebel cause is out there, and I need to join it." So I think she definitely recorded this right after. But it did feel like the citizens were ready for something to kick off.
They do have numbers. That's a big town of people. Like I didn't think it was that many.
Yeah, the Empire underestimated that for sure. I mean, the Empire had a lot of troopers, but still, like for Rick's Road was packed with hundreds and hundreds of people. And I don't know how you couldn't get pumped up after listening to that speech by Maarva. You know, she comes in the massive hologram, and
Obi-Wan style.
Everything. What's up?
Or Princess Leia style.
Yeah, giant. No, it's Emperor Snoke. Giant, intimidating hologram. Emperor Snoke. Grand.
That works.
Yeah, whatever.
What was he?
I think it was Grand. Not Grand Admiral.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Supreme Leader.
Supreme Leader Snoke. Good lord. We forget about that sequel trilogy. We don't even remember the name. Yeah. But just an incredible speech. You know, she goes, "I fear for you. We've been sleeping. We kept the trade lanes open and they left us alone. We took their money and ignored them. And the moment they pulled away, we forgot them. But there's a wound that won't heal at the center of the galaxy. There's a darkness reaching like rust into everything around us. We let it grow, and now it's here. It's here, and it's not visiting anymore. The Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness. It is never more alive than when we sleep." And then the kickstart of, "Perhaps it is too late, but I'll tell you this, if I could do it again, I'd wake up early and be fighting these bastards from the start. Fight the Empire." Like, oh my gosh, what a hype speech. Like, I get you ready to run through a wall. And then, as if they needed it, they go over, and this dickhead kicks over B2. And you do that,
dude,
all bets are off, dude. You're done, bro. Brasso straight kicks your ass to the ground, bro. You don't kick B2 over. Oh my gosh, that set it off. And what a powerful scene. I mean, again, so many scenes from the show where I've gotten chills just listening to monologues, and it was just done so well. Like, it's just a monologue, and it's incredible, emotional, inspiring. Like, it's just crazy. It was kind of cool little symbolism too. They try to cover up the projection after they get pissed. They're like, "All right, cut it off." You know, she starts riling them up, and they throw something over it in a very symbolic way. The light of Maarva's face shines through despite them trying to cover it up. You know, they throw the cloak over it, but her light shines through, and she finishes the message. It was really a little cool piece of symbolism.
And then the scene with Cassian when he's going to save Bix, he finds the Imperial trooper. And he like takes him to the ground. He sticks the gun to his chest and think, okay, he's gonna like tell him to stop, but just boom, executes him. It's like, damn, like Cassian don't give a fuck. He'll kill anybody.
He is ruthless, which is good. You know, you need ruthlessness on the rebel side, but yeah, he's got it. He's good, Lord.
And he gets to Bix, and Bix is like too scared to leave, which is just so sad to see. Like the character she was at the beginning of this season to now.
Yeah, because she was strong, you know. She was very competent. She was a very competent person at the beginning of the season, and now she's trembling, Theon style, when he's getting rescued, and he's like, "No, they're gonna be angry, you know. I don't want any part of this." It's just brutal to see somebody like that, and for Cassian to see her like that, heartbreaking. Yeah.
And Cassian, my dude, you don't have a hood, like you're just walking around with your face out. So that was kind of a nitpick for me. I get the terrorist bomb that was thrown caused a lot of chaos and smoke and debris, but he kind of just walked in there, walked out, made it all the way to the ship without interacting with anyone, and then made it over to Luthen ship, got in there, and never really crossed paths with the Empire once. So once that chaos happened, I guess the Empire kind of just forgot their plan, or the ISB forgot their plan.
Right. Yeah. No, it kind of did. Probably go off his plan a little too clean with that, because he just kind of strolled right in after that and then brought them to the ship and didn't really see any conflict between that. But yeah, apparently that bomb was just enough to absolutely, which was insane, that bombing scene. Like, holy crap. Dude, obviously the main explosion is crazy, but then it sets off all the grenades and it's just blowing up through the whole city. Like, hell of a scene. And then I love the guys getting pissed off and he's telling them to take out the anvil hammerer, the guy banging the bell at the top of the tower. And the stormtrooper finally makes it up there. And I'm thinking, all right, the bell tower guy's just going to get shot. He's going to get shot and killed at some point. Nope. Just straight kicks homie off of the ledge of the tower. Like, that was so sick.
This is Sparta.
I was hoping he used the hammer, honestly.
Oh, God.
And did a little... The armor and the Mandalorian, yeah, she gets the hammers and is cracking the stormtrooper helmets open and stuff. So I thought we were going to get that, but it was crazy. And this whole scene exemplified Luthen's entire point behind their missions. He said his entire plan earlier in the season, he said they need the Empire to get angry. We need the Empire to press down on the people because pressure breeds rebellion. It's exactly what happened. The Empire started using force. They kicked B2 over. And before you know it, there wasn't a single person in the entire city who wasn't fighting against the Empire. And so it was just a great demonstration of, pressure breeds rebellion. And look at them go just because of that.
You can only push people so far.
Yeah. So it was really solid evidence for Luthen's case being made.
And I bet he got pumped up by that Maarva speech. He's like, damn, I could have used her on the team.
Right. He was listening. He was definitely listening. Like, that was cool. And it was just brutal. After it seems like the Empire is kind of getting stuff under control. The bomb goes off. We see Vel doing her best Ben Affleck impression, running into the smoke. But then the Empire
she didn't run into anything.
Yeah, I don't know how she didn't. She ran straight into no visibility and was just fine. It's like there's chaos everywhere. You're gonna trip over somebody at the very least, like
a body. Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, dude, it was pretty brutal. It seems like the rebels are really getting a leg over
upper hand.
I don't know why. Yeah, getting the upper hand on the Empire here, and then they just decide to pull a Joffrey. He goes, fire at will. Shoot anybody you see, like just brutal, and they just start gunning down these unarmed civilians. So that was pretty savage.
And Cinta's following that guy around still, and you get the classic like scared girl move, where she she backs up into the corner. She's like, God, and just stabs him right in the chest. That was so sick,
bro. She just gutted him. It's a pretty small blade, but I'll let that nitpick go. She pulled it out, and I was like, I don't know if you could kill somebody with a 1.5 inch long blade that quick, but whatever. It was a cool move. The other thing I had on this, again, can't say enough about the speech leading into the uprising. It was a parallel with Jyn, really. So we get Jyn Erso in Rogue One, and she's getting her father speaking to her through a hologram about what they need to do to take down the Empire. And this is that fire lit up beneath Jin's ass that really gets her to believe in the cause and start helping Cassian and start helping the whole crew and trying to find her dad, really. But it's a hologram from her dad. And the same thing happens with Cassian here. It's a hologram from his mother that really acts as the catalyst to send them fully into this fight with the Empire. So it's kind of cool. I couldn't help but think of Galen Erso talking to Jyn through the hologram as I was watching Maarva, doing the same thing. So it was a cool touch.
Listen to your parents, kids.
Listen to your parents. They'll help you fight the Empire.
But that was a touching scene when Cassian brings Bix to the ship and they're about to take off, and B2EMO's like, you're not coming with us? You always say you're coming back. Yeah. And then Bix says, Cassian will find us. And that almost got to me for a second. I was like, kind of emotional scene. I was like, damn, they do really believe in him. Like, he is their hero.
Mm-hmm. After, a lot of the crap they were giving him and weren't so sure, and because, he was kind of causing a lot of trouble with them. But yeah, it was really cool to see that at the end, that wrap up and be like, okay, Cassian's the man. We trust in this man. Like, we trust him with our life. And it gets you so excited for the next season to see this new evolved Cassian working with Luthen, Now that he's fully bought in and everything. We've seen him be the hero. It's like, I can't wait to see what comes next for him.
When Luthen and Andor, when he meets him on a ship.
Yeah, okay.
So he says, you came here to kill me, huh? And then he lets him take the gun. He's like, kill me or take me in. And Luthen's a smart man. He gets that little smirk on his face. He's like, I ain't gonna kill you.
Dude, I love that. I love that satisfied kind of, because it's like, he not only has this major stress weighing on him be relieved, because now he doesn't have to kill Cassian, now he doesn't have to worry about him, but he, double up, he now gets this rebel that he was trying to recruit from the beginning because he saw potential in him, and now he sees he's fully bought in. He doesn't have to worry about him being a leak. Like, yeah, that's enough to make a man smile right there.
And I guess Luthen doesn't even know about the prison break yet, and the Andor was involved in that. But once he finds out, he's gonna be like, yeah, this guy's a badass. We need him on the team. Like, he's pulled off 2 crazy moves already.
Dude, what a story to tell, too. Like, are you kidding me? Oh, yeah, I just led thousands of men to break out of this, lockdown Imperial prison. And it's really sad. It seems like Cassian and Melshi were probably the only ones who survived. After you see all that, and there had to have been at least a few other stragglers. There were hundreds of people swimming in the ocean there, but I don't think we're getting Kino Loy anymore. I think he's a goner. I thought maybe we'd catch that scene of him being tortured, like at the end of the season here, about them asking about Cassian or something, but I'm good with it. He served his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into overall thought, we talked about the post-credit scene, but it's pretty funny, and we both kind of talked about it. The irony that Cassian had a hand in creating the Death Star that will eventually kill him, but is the focal point of this entire rebel cause that they're, going up against.
Oh my God, it does kill him.
Yeah, he kind of built the thing that kills him. It's a tough irony there. Tough irony, but yeah. All right, well, I think that kind of wraps up everything that happened there in the finale. So let's roll into your overall thoughts for this episode. So overall thoughts, rating, what do you got for it?
Now, I think I liked the prison break better than this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a couple nitpicks about Cassian escaping, but it still was great. I loved the Maarva speech and how it got everyone riled up, but it also made them believe they had a chance to fight against the Empire. So I have it rated at an 8.5.
8.5. All right. Was a prison break? That was episode 10, right?
9. No, 10. Yeah, right. Because they did 4 episode it.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, I'd agree with you. The prison episode in this season was by far the best episode. I mean, it was just incredible. But this one, despite the action was good. Actually, it was crazy kind of riot stuff breaking out, really grounded and gritty action, not necessarily your typical Star Wars action. But what it did have, it was chock full of incredible multiple liners, these monologues, these incredible monologues that were given. Like, so many of these lines that are iconic and will be quoted down, in the future of Star Wars. Those lines are going to be used and referenced, and they're going to be present a lot going forward. So it's just a great wrap up to the season. Great performances again. And I think it wrapped up perfectly with Cassian finding Luthen to join the rebel cause. It wrapped up Cassian's arc there on the season, and it was just done really well and capped the season off great. And it got me excited for what's to come for season 2. So I got this episode at an 8.8. Definitely still below the prison one, but it was solid. Definitely a top 3 episode of the season, which is what you want out of a finale episode. You want it to be a top 3. So did its job. Now, as a season as a whole, any parting thoughts on the season and a 1 to 10 rating?
So this was kind of a cyberpunk Star Wars that could have been a Netflix series, but still really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I love the Mon Mothma storyline. That was like a pleasant surprise we got in this show. I was not expecting at all.
Right.
And everything on Coruscant was just so fun to watch. And the ISB was also great. Mm-hmm. Now, the writing was the best Star Wars has ever been. I hate to say it, but it is. So many great performances.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Diego Luna is like 3rd or 4th on the list, but he still was amazing in every scene he was in.
Yeah, agreed.
Great set pieces and design. It felt big in scope, unlike Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. But in one of the dislikes, it probably could have been 8 episodes instead of 12. They could have compacted it down a little bit more, but still, it was great to watch. Mm-hmm. And there could have been more Star Wars things in it, but I feel like season 2 is with them showing the Death Star in the post-credit scene, I feel like, and how they've made an impact on the Empire. It's going to be a lot more classic Star Wars vibes in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
But still, the things we liked about Andor season 1 have to continue. It can't just turn into fan service. You know, it's obviously not going to, but a mix of both would be nice for season 2.
Yeah.
And Skarsgård and Andy Serkis, just amazing performances. So my overall rating for the season is an 8.8.
All right.
Couldn't give it the 9.
8.8.
I feel like season 2 will be pushing over 9 for sure.
Okay. So I did break the 9. Now, I only had one episode in the entire season that I rated above a 9. Majority of the episodes were 8.2s to 8.7s. But that in itself made me want to put this above a 9 just because we got an entire season from start to finish that was so consistent. It was so reliable week in and week out of just like, wow, another pleasantly, surprisingly good episode, you know? Time and time after again, by the time we got to episode 9 or 10, I'm telling people, you need to watch this show. Like, you need to watch this show. If it started off slow for you, push through. It's worth it. You need to watch this show. And so just the mere confidence I have in suggesting this show to others makes me want to give it over a 9. But yeah, all the stuff that went into it, like you said, we got so many incredible performances. It's just unreal that Diego Luna isn't even arguably a top 3 performer of this season. You know, it's just crazy. We got just so many beautiful surprises with Andy Serkis and the Easter eggs in Luthen's antique room and the Death Star being assembled, but it wasn't forced fan service. It was done really gracefully. And like you said, especially, without a doubt in my mind, this was the best Star Wars has ever been written. Best dialogue, it's not even a freaking argument. Like, dialogue-wise, this blew out any other Star Wars project out of the water. But performance, writing-wise, this is a upper echelon Star Wars project that really may have set the bar for the future of Star Wars. So overall, my expectations were blown out of the water for this season. So incredible season, and I really can't wait. I agree with you. I think season 2 is going to feel more Star Wars, but I think in a good way, in a good Tony Gilroy way. He's on season 2, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, God, I scared myself for a second there. Okay, so yeah, I think it's going to be just stepped up, but we'll have more of that Star Wars feel because we're going to be more involved with the Stormtroopers, with the Death Star, with everything going on there. So I can't wait.
2 years.
Do we have? I was going to say, so it's 2024 estimated release. Okay, got to wait for good things sometimes. So
now Star Wars is coming back in 2023 with some good stuff.
Let's go. We believe in you, Star Wars. It has nothing to do with you getting rid of Kathleen Kennedy soon here.
Not at all.
So I guess I never gave my official rating. I said it was over a 9. I gave
teasing
it's
us.
Not important. Just know that it's over a 9 and tune back next episode to find out what my actual score was. I gave it a 9.2 out of 10.
Nice.
So it is pretty way higher than I expected to rate this thing. So 9.2.
Let's go.
Solid performance by Star Wars here.
Would you put Rings of Power?
Rings of Power as a total, it's probably pretty close. I had Rings of Power as an 8.9. Oh my God, really? Well, can't change it now.
No, but this probably just because how like pleasantly surprised you were for the show built it up.
Yes,
you know?
Compared to expectations, and then just how consistent it was. I had more nitpicks with Rings of Power than I had with this show.
Right.
Rings of Power also went on a much further ledge, and we're bold with a lot more stuff. But
dude, I cannot wait for season 2 of that show.
I think
I'm most excited for that out of the 3 that came out.
Yeah.
More than House of Dragon.
See, that's tough because House of the Dragon season 2 is gonna pop off,
dude. It is. They're close.
Yeah, but I think my anticipation, it's very, very close. But I think it's Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, Andor season 2, all within. If I was rating it 1 to 10, they'd all be within like. Yeah, I know, Lou. They'd all be within like 0.2 or 0.3 of each other. Like it's very, very close. But yeah, I'll give Rings of Power the nod. So, with that being said, and this pleasant surprise of a season coming to a close, Do you think this will change the direction of Star Wars projects going ahead in the future? And if so, how?
I really hope so. Now, I hope with them releasing the first 2 episodes on ABC and FX and Hulu, it gets the numbers up, because the numbers have been down on this show. But everyone who watches it really highly rates it. Mm-hmm. So I hope that they take this, like, they need to make this type of show, but with Jedi and Sith. So I'm really stoked for the Acolyte, and they have to pull that show off, because they're good at, I mean, the Force is hard. Like, George created it, and trying to recreate those types of stories isn't easy. It's easier when you just have these side characters like Andor. You can just create like a normal TV show. Yeah. But when it comes to Jedi and Sith, it's this very tender subject you have to take a lot of care with.
Yeah. Dude, if we could get an Acolyte show that mirrored the quality of this, like,
oh my God,
I can't even tell you how excited I would be to watch this show. I'm already so excited, but like, oh my gosh, it'd be just insane. It would be one of the best shows ever if we get a similar quality of Acolyte. Whew. But yeah, you're right. You get this freedom when it comes to side characters, when it comes to writing, to be more, I can't really think of the word, but to have something more like this, where it just feels like
you're not tied to canon.
Right, you're not tied to canon. It's a really good, well-written series, and it could have been a standalone. It didn't even need to be a Star Wars fan series. Whereas you do a show like Kenobi, and there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through. There is. Now, Andrew Stanton,
that's what the writer.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah. So he said that whole thing about, well, it's hard to write this. You want to write something, and then it's like, oh crap, well, I have to check in with this and that. Oh, that sucks. Well, I don't want to do that. Yada yada. Which I get that, but you went in knowing that, Andrew. You don't get to say this was written badly because, well, I got sick of having to jump around canon. It's like, you knew what show you were signing up for. It's about Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's going to be, you have to expect that. Anyways, regardless.
Sidebar.
These side character stories open up a lot more freedom, and Tony Gilroy used the hell out of it.
Right.
So I think this raises the bar for future projects. I think it opens up possibilities for what a Star Wars project truly could be. It doesn't have to rely solely on flash, on lightsabers, on the Force. You can utilize that, but still have a really well-written project. It's a universe that has heart. There's so much emotion and heart throughout all the stories throughout this universe. And there's so many incredible stories to tell. So I just hope this opens up the gates to many more similar styled projects with more of an emphasis placed on good writing. So we'll see. Yeah, the numbers thing is interesting. It was pretty low. So I think it was big that they decided to put those episodes. Now they'll probably pull a Disney thing where they put the first 3 episodes on FX and all that stuff, and then say,
I think it is, yeah.
Subscribe to Disney Plus to watch the rest of the season. But it's, as far as marketing tactics go, it's a pretty good one. But at least they're opening it up to people, to get into the show. And last thing, before we head out of here, where does this season rank among all Star Wars projects? So all movies, Mando Season 1, Mando Season 2, everything. Where does this rank for you?
I'm just going to do Disney Star Wars because the first 6 would probably just be above it to me.
Okay.
But when it comes to Disney, this would be right up there with Mando Season 2 and Rogue One. So it's top 3, maybe top 4 with Mando Season 1. But it's all, it's basically Mando and Tony Gilroy up at the top.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. No joke. Would you put this above a Mandalorian season?
I don't know.
It's hard, right? Because it's so different. It's like it's hard to compare the two.
Rewatchability, I'd rather watch Mando again, probably.
Yes.
But
yeah, agreed.
That's probably why. Yeah, so rewatchable, I'd probably put Mando Season 1 right above it. And Mando Season 2 is obviously the top spot.
Yeah, top spot for sure. It was so dope. All right, well, I'm with you, except I am almost willing to put it in the top 5 of all Star Wars projects. Before Disney, pre-Disney, post-Disney, I might be willing to put it in the top 5. It doesn't beat out Revenge of the Sith, but it's up there, man. And it's hard to compare to like Empire Strikes Back because those are so hard to compare to modern film and shows. But Empire Strikes Back is legendary. It's always going to be at the top of the list. But I'd have to do some thinking. I'd have to do some rewatching, some critical analysis. But I think it'd be in the top 5 all Star Wars. But it's for sure top 3 Disney Star Wars. It's hard to rank this one, though, because I got Mando Season 2 and I got Rogue One and I got Andor in the top 3.
Right.
And I can't really put it in a particular order right now. It's too hard. It's just one's a movie, 2 are seasons, and the 2 seasons are so opposite in the style and the direction of it. So it's really hard, but it made its mark. It made its mark in Star Wars.
I was trying to think because Phantom Menace is probably the least out of the 6 for me. Well, Attack of the Clones
Really?
too. That's probably the bad.
I like it more than Attack of the Clones. Yeah, I like Phantom Menace more. Darth Maul himself pushes it over Attack of the Clones for me.
He's barely in it though.
I know, but that final fight compared to the Dooku final fight was cool, but when you go back and watch it, it's very short-lived. There's like
with Yoda,
a 10-second thing.
He whoops.
Anakin
He wipes
and Obi-Wan.
out Obi-Wan and Anakin. Yeah.
Very quickly. That 10-second sequence of Anakin with the dual lightsabers was awesome going against Dooku, but it was like a 10-second sequence. It ended fairly quickly. And the final kill drives me nuts. Anakin just holds his arm up. He does like a Christ pose when Dooku cuts off his arm. Like he had no defense. He raises both arms and just lets him cut his arm off. It drives me crazy every time I rewatch that scene.
Well, Anakin shouldn't have fought with 2 lightsabers. That was one of the theories behind it. He doesn't know how to fight with 2 lightsabers. Why wouldn't he just use one? He's been training with one his entire life.
Yeah, he just got pissed and just let emotions take over, obviously, and grab the closest thing he could hit Dooku with. Start throwing rocks.
I like Attack of the Clones more, just because Anakin's my favorite, and that is Anakin.
Okay, that's fair. Well, that probably wraps it up here for our coverage of the penultimate episode, the finale episode, and this amazing season. Penultimate. And what's the third episode? Third episode, I forget what it's called. Yeah, and the antepenultimate, which was also a pretty good episode. It's the prison break. But yeah, so that wraps it up for our coverage here. An incredible season, a fun ride to go on, a fun show to cover on this podcast, and just a really delightful surprise as a whole. So thank you for tuning in with us through our coverage. Continue to tune in for our top 5 lists, our 2022 awards for all of our properties. And again, hit us up on social media. We're more than willing to do episode content or topics that you want to see covered. So let us know what you want to see. Thank you as always, Caleb, for joining me this morning. And we'll see you next time on Why So Sidious, our Nerd Podcast.